We've been talking about contagion from the FTX fallout. How much more contagion are we likely to see in the coming days, in the coming weeks? Which other dominoes are likely to fall?
I think we'll see a little bit of contagion. Whenever one big player goes down, especially a trading platform, there are many other people or institutions with money on the platform. I think we've seen Genesis halting withdrawals. I think
and that's why Genesis and Gemini is probably going to be the next to fall as well.
Probably maybe one or two more, a couple others. I don't know how many, but each time there's cascading effects, the effects become smaller. So I think overall, the industry is fine, but there will be some probably.
You tweeted, then deleted a tweet suggesting perhaps liquidity issues at the likes of Coinbase as well as Grayscale. Is there reason to worry about that?
I don't think I tweeted about Grayscale, and also I didn't say there's liquidity issues at Coinbase. I was just referring to two articles. One article says Coinbase says Grayscale has 635.
He's kind of shady. He is.
K Bitcoins with them. The other article 4 months ago says Bitcoin only has 600K Bitcoins on the exchange. I understand the exchange is separate from the custody. So I just posted as a question, are those two numbers correct? But of course, that caused a lot of misunderstandings among communities, so I deleted the tweet.
Are there solvency issues to do with those companies? Some say that perhaps you tweeted because you wanted to build your own empire to spread the fear, the rumors.
Not so. Okay, so I don't know if there are issues with those other businesses. The thing with other businesses is unless we get very accurate financial statements, wallet addresses, we don't know for sure. But I'm not tweeting that because we want to build our empire. I think I actually reflect on the FTX situation, and I kind of blame myself for tweeting that too late. I think as an industry, we let FTX got too big before we started.
FTX was in direct competition with them. So, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and this is business. Just pay attention.
Question some of those things. So I'm taking the approach where we ask questions much earlier. It does not mean any attacks on any of our industry peers. We just want to build more transparency and more scrutiny into the industry. Having said that, Coinbase has been operating for 10, 12 years. I think, they're listed company in the US. I'm sure they already have a lot of audited financials. Just we don't see that on the blockchain. For people in the industry, we like to see data on the blockchain, which is actually the most transparent way to display information.
CZ, you've talked about launching a crypto recovery fund. Where are you on that? You've talked about interest being quite substantial. Who's interested?
Yes, so we should have a blog article going out today. There's been back and forth on how to structure that. Do we make that a loose fund or do we make it an actual fund? I think we're kind of going with a loose approach where different industry players will just contribute as they wish. So I think a blog post is going out today. I think we're structuring so that it's going to be quite public. Whoever contributes move funds to a blockchain crypto address that people can look at. So it's not just some behind-the-scenes fund. So I think that's kind of being finalized now, and I think a blog post is going out soon.
But who are you in talks with, CZ? Some say that perhaps entities related to the UAE National Security Advisor. Can you confirm that? Who else are you in talks with?
So we talked for the Industry Recovery Fund, we talked to a number of other industry players, and none in Abu Dhabi. So that Bloomberg article was wrong. I was in Abu Dhabi last week for the Milken conference. I was there for 3 days. And of course, I met a lot of different people in Abu Dhabi, including the Abu Dhabi ADGM, the Abu Dhabi Global Markets Regulator, and a bunch of other people. So there's various different reports about who I met, who I talked about. But I won't disclose those discussions, but that Bloomberg report is inaccurate.
All right, setting the record straight there, CZ. When might you launch this fund? Will it be by year end? Might you look at 2023? Give us some indication when this launch will be.
It's going to be much faster. I think, look, the industry needs saving now, not in 2023. The industry moves pretty fast. In a couple of months, the industry probably would have largely recovered. So I think we're going to move on this on a day basis. So and also it's not a traditional fund. I think we're going with a loose structure for industry players to help other people in need.
CZ, there are lots of distressed crypto assets out there. Are you setting aside an amount of money to buy some of these assets? Give us a sense of how you're thinking about them.
I think roughly we're thinking about setting aside $1 billion first. And then if that's not enough, we can allocate more. And if that's too much, I think we're roughly angling for 6 months. If after 6 months there's unused funds still left and there's not that many projects, hopefully the industry would have recovered by then. If there's still unused funds, we can withdraw it back. That's kind of the rough thinking about it. A blog post will go out with some more details today.
Might you bid for FTX assets? And if so, what might look interesting for you right now?
We definitely want to look at those assets when they come through a liquidation court. I think originally we want to engage directly with FTX, but then we found out that based on Bloomberg reports, there are potential investigations going on. So we said hands off. But they invest in a number of different projects. Some of them are okay, some of them are bad. But I think there are certain assets that may be salvageable and that may be of interest. So we'll look through that when they become available.
We just finished watching the interview of CZ. Now let's move on to the Ripple CTO and see what he has to say about the meltdown. Let's read down to see what else he has to say. Because of the Ripple meltdown, there's one important lesson that is pretty obvious in retrospect and that I can say with total confidence, and let's see where he's going, is regulations that punishes after the fact won't catch it. So he's basically saying that we need to be proactive in regulations, and these politicians need to be proactive in making these policies into effect before we see another collapse. And of course, many people will say that it could be and likely is happening, but they'll be shut down by accusations of sowing FUD or unsettling a system that is making people money. Basically it's saying that when you don't have regulations, people will lose their money. And ultimately it is because of the US government at the moment that do not have clear guidelines into how this crypto industry has to operate. So I agree with him, because now, because of the collapse of FTX, politicians Pat Toomey and I believe Senator Warren has been talking to their colleagues as far as, hey, we need to get this ball rolling. There's too many people losing their money. There's too many billions of dollars lost, and people's lives are going to be upended and a bad situation.